Tonight on the Donlon Report, we take you to the front lines of the pandemic with someone who has literally been there. A traveling nurse gives us her firsthand perspective. Plus, a member of Congress was just carjacked in Philadelphia. We'll talk with someone who's trying to do something about the rising crime in the city of brotherly love. And it's been a little while since we checked in on Mayfield, Kentucky, where Home for the Holidays has a whole new meaning this year. We'll speak with a woman who lost her home in that massive tornado. We are stacked tonight, and it's great to have you with us. From our Chicago studios, the Donlon Report starts right now. The more things change, the more they stay the same, and that is the pulse of America tonight. Think about it. There are a lot of similarities between now and the first few months of the pandemic. A rise in cases and hospitalizations, masking making a comeback, a lot of people worrying, testing, and quarantining. And how about this one? Overworked and stressed healthcare professionals. Remember when we used to bang pots and pans every night to thank them for their hard work? Well, we're going to speak with a traveling nurse in just a minute about what she has seen in her most recent 13-week assignment in Michigan, where she was putting in double shifts. And the legal battle over President Biden's vaccine mandate is still alive. The Supreme Court will hear the case in a few weeks, coming up in the new year in a special hearing. So is the mandate legal? We'll get into that. We'll speak with one of the employers who's fighting that mandate, along with his attorney, about what's coming up at the Supreme Court. That's ahead for us as well. But as we gather for the holidays, the airports are packed. And so evidence suggests we're not necessarily deterred for the most part. And here are some reassuring words from someone worth listening to, an epidemiologist from the University of California who is currently studying COVID exclusively. Recently said, the hiding in our basement behind the pile of sandbags moment has come and gone. A new study from the UK, which is usually a few weeks ahead of us here in the U.S., says people with Omicron are up to 70% less likely to need hospitalization. More evidence that Omicron, certainly more contagious, is apparently not as severe. And a Washington forecast, University of Washington, predicts that we may have a lot more new cases of Omicron when it peaks, 400,000 versus last winter's 250,000. But it also indicates fewer deaths than last year's peak. Still, it is the hospitalizations that have a lot of people worried, and that's where we begin tonight. Pleased to have Lydia Mobley with us, a traveling nurse who's just coming off that 13-week stint in Michigan, often working up to 80-hour weeks. Lydia, it's great to have you with us. Take us inside. What are you seeing on the front lines that you wish everyone could see?
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. Unfortunately, we are still seeing a lot of people who have chosen, for whatever reason, to believe social media or other sources that are not reputable and have chosen not to get vaccinated. And unfortunately, they are, as you said, I work in the ICU. They're using their last breaths to ask for the vaccine, and unfortunately, it's much too late.
What else are you hearing from them, Lydia? I was going to ask you that a little bit later, but since you brought it up, let's get to it now. What are these patients saying when they're either in the ICU or apparently facing what they believe to be their final days?
Again, most haven't come to the realization that this is it, but they just know that they're struggling to breathe. I just had a patient several weeks ago, and the hospital happened to be out of BiPAPs that night. A BiPAP is a mask that goes over your face and assists you in breathing, but is less invasive than a ventilator. Obviously, the ventilator is the last step. But he needed a BiPAP. The hospital that I was at was out because of the high number of COVID patients. And unfortunately, as he was struggling to breathe, he was asking me if it was too late for the vaccine. And unfortunately, I had to tell him yes. And that man died a week later.
I remember in the beginning, Lydia, where we were watching or seeing and hearing about people who were dying on Facebook, FaceTime, basically, with their families, with nurses like you holding the phone up so they could say goodbye to their families. Have we come a long way since then? And do you have hope for where we're headed right now?
Actually, some hospitals, the hospital I was just at was allowing visitors at end of life for COVID patients with a paper mask and a face shield. And so sometimes the family could be at the bedside if they chose to, but bear in mind that is an exposure. So then they would have to quarantine after. But not as many people dying alone, but unfortunately they are still dying. And I don't know about hope, because I thought from last winter seeing, we'd have 3 patients dead in just the first 4 hours of the shift. And this winter, it's like we're having more deaths, but the difference is these patients are younger. These are 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds who thought they didn't need to get vaccinated, who thought it wouldn't affect them. And unfortunately, that couldn't be further from the truth, because now they're dying.
Well, it does feel, Lydia, like we've gone back in some respects, despite the advances that we've made. And I think one of those things is last Christmas when we really didn't get together. And a lot of people now are questioning what to do as we head into the holidays. What would you suggest as people gather?
I think it's important to bear in mind that protection from COVID is a layered system, right? We have all these different layers. Obviously, the strongest is vaccination. And then there is the layer of masking. And now we're hearing more about rapid tests, but I would just urge people to view rapid tests with caution, because as the data shows, depending on the brand, and if you have no symptoms, they can be less than 50% accurate. So just because you get a negative rapid test doesn't mean that you should rush to go to a party or a gathering without a mask, especially if you're unvaccinated. I would say plan your gathering. And again, the best advice would be to limit to vaccinated people, but the best advice would be to limit or to plan your gathering around the most vulnerable in your group, to determine how many layers of protection you would need. But absolutely, everybody who's meeting should be vaccinated. You
have an interesting perspective on this, Lydia, because you've been a traveling nurse and you've seen a number of hospitals. Most of us have had some kind of break from this, right? Whether it's work from home or some different break. Can you give us an idea in your travels as a nurse, what kind of toll this has taken, not only on you, but the others you're running into on the front lines of healthcare workers?
I think healthcare workers across the board are just so burned out and so tired. And again, we have all of these very useful tools to stop this, but unfortunately not enough people are stepping up and getting vaccinated. So I would urge those who want to thank healthcare heroes or, the true patriots of this country to please get vaccinated, because the American thing to do is to get vaccinated. That is how we will get out of this.
There are some in your own profession, though, Lydia, who are fighting the vaccine mandates for healthcare workers. Have you found that to be a problem? And is that a reason you're having to go to some of these areas because they're shorthanded?
Yes, that is one of the reasons that staff is short. I did, when vaccines were first introduced, I rushed to get mine. I was so happy that we finally had hope after watching all these people die. And I would say that there were some healthcare workers I came in contact with that were a little bit hesitant, but I think as they saw, that the vast majority of people don't have any effects from the vaccine, or they have, short-term, maybe a 24-hour cold symptoms or a fever or something very minor, that I think that brought a lot of them around. Unfortunately, yes, there are still some who have resisted the mandates, and that's their personal choice, I guess. But also, I think patients have the right to come to hospital and not have to worry about being infected by those who are entrusted with caring for them.
I think people might have been surprised to find out about these traveling nurse positions that you have. What's the next stop for you? And do you have any final thoughts? What's ahead for the hospital systems, do you think, or do you fear in the weeks and months ahead?
I fear in Michigan, and my next contract will be in Michigan also. We have a particularly low vaccination rate, and compared to other states with low vaccination rate, it's very cold here, so people are gathering indoors. Michigan hospitals are already at the brink. And again, back to our vaccination rate is lower than Texas and Florida, which might surprise a lot of people. And we also have no mask mandate here. So I only foresee in the next couple of months that getting worse, unfortunately, in Michigan. And I worry about my loved ones who, perhaps need treatment for other things, because a lot of hospitals here in Michigan are canceling elective surgeries. And unfortunately, people who are living with pain, who need joint replacements and such, they won't be able to get them, which is very sad. But unfortunately, I think these next few months are going to be very dark for Michigan and perhaps the country.
Well, a phenomenal voice to start us off tonight from the front lines. Lydia Mobley, it's great to have you. Again, I appreciate, and I think I speak for all of us in saying thank you for all that you and the frontline healthcare workers are doing. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
Best to you. Nurses like Lydia are urging people to get the vaccine, as you heard there, but the Supreme Court has now agreed to hear arguments on whether the president can force workers to get the vaccine or lose their jobs. One of the business owners leading the fight against the president's mandate, Brandon Trosklar, and he's joined by his lawyer, Daniel Sur of the Liberty Justice Center. Thank you both for joining us. Brandon, it's great to have you back. We've sort of followed you through this process, through the courts, and it looked like the last time we talked, it seemed like it was over and you had won. Apparently not. Did you think it was history?
Joe, thanks again for having me. I thought it was history, but it really doesn't matter. Obviously, we're a tad disappointed with what the Sixth Circuit had. They came out with and voted an 8-8, and then sent it to the 3-panel. But we're as motivated as ever. We're excited to go to the Supreme Court, and we're confident there that we will come out on the good side of this thing.
Daniel, let's bring you in. You won't actually be the one arguing before the Supreme Court. I'm sure you would love to, but are you surprised it's heading there, or did you think it would probably end up there eventually anyway?
Joe, I'm really glad the Supreme Court is hearing it and doing so on an expedited basis. I think we already saw a preview of this summer when the Supreme Court considered the eviction mandate from the Centers for Disease Control. And there the court first said, you have to go to Congress. And the Biden administration did it anyway by executive order. And it went back to the court, and the court said, no, this goes beyond the power of the president. And so knowing that precedent and how the Supreme Court handled that previous iteration of a similar mandate, I think gives us a good preview of where the court will be now. And that's why I'm glad it's in their hands.
They have ruled in favor of other mandates, though. Daniel, I'm curious. And to your point, at the, I guess the Court of Appeals, they said to protect workers, OSHA can and must be able to respond to dangers as they evolve. What do you think led to the flip when you'd won up to that point?
Yeah, the Sixth Circuit ruling, I think, has this fundamental flaw that it doesn't recognize that COVID is a society-wide problem. It's not unique to or limited to the workplace. And OSHA, the Occupational Health and Safety Administration, their job is to keep us safe at work, not safe in society. We have different agencies for that. And honestly, it's primarily a job for local and state governments to do. And when the federal government steps in with a national mandate, it goes beyond, at minimum, the powers that Congress has given OSHA, if not really the powers the Constitution gives to the federal government overall.
Brandon, has this been worth it? And what have you learned through this?
It's been absolutely worth it. And what I've learned is I've gotten support from all around the country and other parts of the world. It just fuels my fire that much more to stand up for our individual rights, our individual freedoms. And I'm proud and honored to be able to be a part of it, Jim.
Will you adhere to it if it's passed at the Supreme Court?
We'll see, but I've always followed all the CDC and the Louisiana Department of Health and hospital guidelines in the past. And so we'll just have to see what that outcome is.
Yeah, Daniel, you hinted at it. This comes down to congressional approval in the end, but what do you foresee? What happens next?
I think there are 6 solid votes to strike this down, Joe. It goes beyond anything that OSHA has done in the past. It really goes beyond what we've seen the federal government do in general in the past. We've never had a nationwide vaccination mandate that affects tens of millions of Americans, which is what the Biden administration is pushing. The Supreme Court shot this down this summer in a similar form. I think now that it's back, we'll see the same result, but this is an illegal intrusion into businesses like Brandon's and really into the lives of individual Americans who should make these important medical choices for themselves.
January 7th, I believe, is the date for the hearing. Is it not, Daniel?
That's right. It'll be here quick.
All right. Listen, grocery store owner Brandon Trosklar and attorney Daniel Sur of the Liberty Justice Center, it's great to have you both along the journey. We'll continue to follow it, and we'll see you soon. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Joe. You too.
Former police officer Kim Potter found guilty on 2 counts of manslaughter. What does this verdict mean for policing in America going forward? We'll get into that next.
We, the jury on the charge of manslaughter in the first degree, find the defendant guilty. We, the jury on the charge of manslaughter in the second degree, culpable negligence, find the defendant guilty.
No reaction from former police officer Kim Potter after being found guilty of 2 counts of manslaughter. Potter mistook her gun for a taser in the killing of Daunte Wright during a traffic stop. Prosecutors argued and the jury agreed Potter acted recklessly. We're joined now by attorney Nicole DeBoard and retired LAPD Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey. Nicole, let's start with you. This obviously was not easy for the jury. I think, a lot of people, as we have all summer with these trials, guessed at what the outcome might be. It seemed like people thought first degree was a stretch, second degree was a possibility. What's your reaction to it?
I think that this verdict presents some complex issues moving forward in the justice system. Historically, our justice system has been designed to prosecute people for crimes based on a willful conduct or intent. And this verdict is clearly one that has found a serious felony liability with no intent. And I think that this is representative of potential erosion of that requirement in our justice system.
Sergeant, we had several legal experts say this was a 50-50 call all along. And to that point, what do you think, what message does this send to police officers, this verdict?
Well, I would hope that it would give officers pause when they use deadly force, because it's supposed to be used as a last resort after you've exhausted every other mean and in the immediate defense of life, not because someone is running away, not because someone won't comply, not because things are chaotic.
Well, she didn't think she was using deadly force, though, Sergeant.
Pardon me?
She didn't think she was using deadly force. She thought she had her taser.
Well, listen, that's what she says. But, when we're trained and practice with our firearm, we look down the barrel of the gun to line up our sights. And while she was doing that for the 4 or 5 seconds as she yelled, taser, 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 she had to know that she was holding a Glock and not a plastic taser.
Do you worry at all that this also sends a message to offenders that they can get away, because officers probably won't stop them after this?
Offenders as in the community can get away?
Somebody, to jump in their car and try to get away because they know the officer won't shoot them.
Well, no. Not if you look like me, because if you try to get away, for sure you're going to get shot, most likely based on what's happened in the past. And so, but what I would hope it would do is it would give the community the understanding that you need to comply with an officer's directive, whether you think it's legitimate, legal, authorized, or not, because when you don't, bad things happen.
Well, that's for sure. Nicole, what do you think was the key evidence here? Because both sides had admitted it was a mistake. I mean, everyone agreed to that. The question was it reckless or negligent? And the jury had to get past the fact that they knew it was an accident.
I think the key evidence was the absolutely horrific result. I don't think that anyone ever argued with the idea that the loss of life here by Daunte Wright was absolutely horrific and tragic. And at the end of the day, I think that these jurors were just naturally so upset by that this fact certainly won the day.
Sergeant, let me play a clip from the DA there in Minnesota, Keith Ellison. I was struck by something the prosecutor said during the testimony, which was this was a colossal screw-up, and there's no way to get around that. Here's what the DA said about the impact on police after the verdict.
My thoughts are also with those who work in law enforcement and public safety. We hold you in high regard, and we also hold you to high standards. We don't want you to be discouraged. Your community respects and appreciates you. We want you to uphold the highest ideals of our society and ideals of safety. And when a member of your profession is held accountable, it does not diminish you.
Accountability was key here, Sergeant, but I wondered today, if there's a crash, pilots get training, they don't get thrown in jail, they get sued. Doctors get sued for malpractice when they make a mistake. The question here, was it criminal? Are you worried at all about the fact that this was obviously a colossal screw-up, as the prosecutor said, and this officer's going to jail?
It was more than that for me, Joe. And listen, we don't get to make those kinds of screw-ups. And if you start labeling every time an officer used deadly force as, oh, my bad, oops, then we're going to have a real problem on our hands. And so we're required and expected to know, like the DA said, we're held to a higher standard. We know our guns intimately. We should know how they work. We should make sure they're functioning properly, because it may save our own life. And so to say that this was just a mistake and minimize and mitigate that behavior is problematic for me.
Well, I mean, mitigating is one thing. I guess my question, I keep going back to it, is should it have been criminal? Because clearly there's going to be a settlement here, and there's probably going to be a civil trial. I mean, she'll be held culpable and responsible. And the question, again, goes back to, was it criminal? The jury has decided it was. And Nicole, I think one of the keys is the difference that the sergeant touched on there in the taser and the gun. When you see those two side by side, and the jury asked to see more about that, that may have played a big role in this.
Absolutely. And I know that the jury did ask to have the gun brought back into the jury room. And I think that they probably held on to it and tried to determine for themselves whether or not it felt totally different. But, I think your other point is one that is incredibly important here, which is to say, in the past, doctors and pilots, they are not held criminally responsible, even for what might be characterized as colossal mistakes. This verdict certainly makes it possible for any cause-based prosecution in the future to try to hold surgeons and pilots and anyone else who's got human lives in their hands liable in criminal court. And that is a question we really have to think about, whether or not that's what we want from our criminal justice system.
We just have a few seconds left. Nicole, what's next?
I think that she will be she will be sentenced, and then she will consider an appeal.
All right. Sergeant Dorsey, thank you as always for your time. Criminal defense attorney Nicole DeBoer, we appreciate you as well. Take care.
Thank you.
Much of the media spotlight has moved on from Mayfield, Kentucky, but we haven't. We wanted to check in next with the woman who received a phone call that saved her life. On the other end of that line, they said, don't go home. She survived. Their home is gone. We'll check in with them coming up. Plus, Joplin, Missouri was devastated by a tornado 10 years ago. How long did it take to rebuild? Did people and businesses come back? The mayor will join us with a look at the road ahead for Mayfield. Hard to believe it was just December 10th when a tornado leveled the town of Mayfield, Kentucky. NewsNation and our broadcast covered the tragedy from day one.
If you look at this home, what's left of it, just rubble, brick by brick, just completely crumbled. You can see belongings inside. It really is a sad sight, and this is what it looks like block after block.
People need food, they need water, they need supplies. That's a big thing that we're trying to address right now. Hot meals, food, toiletries, everything that we can just supply to the people to keep them going and keep their hope up.
I'm beyond blessed to be here. Today I witnessed Southern hospitality at its finest here in Kentucky. Every neighbor was helping each other pull through each other's rubbish.
That was his friend's home, and the home was gone. I mean, barely a foundation was there, and they were found behind their home. The husband and wife were, and my husband stayed with him, and he was praying.
Well, we have not forgotten Mayfield, nor the woman you saw in that last clip there, Stephanie Matheny. That's why I wanted to get her back on with us to check in. Her home was destroyed by the tornado. And it's great to have you back, Stephanie. And I'll be honest with you, it's great to see your smile, because the last time we talked, it was difficult for you. It really means a lot to see you smiling. How are you doing?
I'm actually much better today. We were able to find a home that we can move into sometime next week.
All right, so where are you right now?
I'm in Paducah, still about 30 minutes away from Mayfield.
Are you in a hotel, or where are you staying?
I'm still in the hotel room that we checked into Saturday afternoon, and we had to find a home in Paducah because there's nothing to rent in Mayfield.
So what do you do now? I mean, what does your day consist of, Stephanie? Are you still trying to go through the insurance claims? What's your day like?
I've been in contact with FEMA almost daily. I've attempted Red Cross, and I've sent y'all pictures of my home, and they told me my home was only affected by the tornado. It was not severely damaged or destroyed, so they won't be able to help me. So,
at all?
Nope, not at all. They said they'll try to escalate it, but there's no guarantee. They put me back in line with the 2 other 1,000 claims. If they help me, that's great. If not, there's a lot of people who are reaching out to us, and if it doesn't work, it's okay. We'll be all right.
Did you have homeowners insurance?
No, with COVID and everything, I canceled everything, but rent, lights, and food. And so, trying to get back on your feet after COVID and not being able to work for a few months, then this hit. I was planning on getting it next year to get back on track, and it didn't work out that way. But trust me, in my next place, I will get renter's insurance.
I'm sure. Is there still help for you on the ground, Stephanie? Are there volunteer efforts there with food and other things that you need?
There is so much help out here right now. There is so many people from all over the U.S. coming out to help Mayfield. It is truly a blessing. It is just amazing to see the whole country come to help us. It's really amazing. Everywhere you look, there's people with food trucks giving out free food. They're still giving out water, clothes, anything that you need. It's truly amazing to, I know when you go to Mayfield, you see the devastation of what has happened, but you see so many people holding hands, praying together, and just being a family. It's really amazing.
It's kind of brought the community together. It sounds like. Have you been able to get back to your house, Stephanie, and get your belongings and go through what you can save?
I did that earlier in the week, and yesterday they finished getting rid of everything that was left. The foundation's no longer there. All that's left is a dirt patch of where a house used to be.
Wow.
So there's nothing left for me to get back. I got what I could, and I got about 3 totes worth of items that I was able to save.
Is there anything you lost that you really were sorry to lose?
My cat.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
My wedding album. I've been married 16 years next week, and my wedding album, my wedding dress, you know, I mean, all those, I know that stuff's replaceable, but there's keepsakes from when I was a baby that I can't get back.
Right.
But I was able to save my parents' china that's 25 years old. That survived. So I got something from before.
I know this is probably not obviously at the top of the list, but what's ahead for you and your family for the holidays? Are you trying to make it the best you possibly can?
Yes, my cousin who helped save my dog, she is doing Christmas dinner on Christmas Day. And so we're all going to go to her house and spend it with her. And she's holding on to the 3 fur babies who survived for us. And we're going to go spend it with them and have dinner. I'm not really in the Christmas spirit, but she's like, you have no excuse. You're right down the road.
Well,
so I'll be there.
All right. Have an eggnog for us, will you? Stephanie Matheny, it's great to see you again. We wish you and your town all the best, and stay in touch, right? I appreciate the update.
Sure will. Thank you.
Take care. So what's ahead for Mayfield, Kentucky? How can residents pick up the pieces there in their lives? Well, we can learn a lot more from another community, Joplin, Missouri. That's because 10 years ago, another tornado destroyed Joplin, killing 158 and injuring more than 1,000. The scenes there very much like Mayfield after the EF5 tornado ripped through. But here is downtown Joplin today, rebuilt, back on its feet, and with a lot to tell about the last 10 years. So what can Joplin tell us about Mayfield and what's ahead? Let's ask the mayor of Joplin, Ryan Stanley, been kind enough to join us. Thank you, sir. What was your response, first of all, when you saw what happened in Mayfield, Kentucky, having lived through that yourself?
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me on. We were watching the news feed coming in, and it was taking us back to our experience in 2011. Some of those pictures you show in Joplin, you don't know if you're showing Joplin or Mayfield. And so the city of Joplin is heartbroken for all of the communities that have been affected by the storms, certainly going into the holiday season and the cold weather and just heartbroken and absolutely concerned.
You also had to rebuild, and we'll get to that in a minute. I'm wondering, though, what you know about what's ahead for Mayfield. What are they in for that maybe they don't realize right now?
Well, I think they're starting to experience, number one, that outpouring of support. I was listening to Stephanie talking about the people that are showing up to help out and so forth. So they're experiencing that. She also spoke of clearing the land, and they're going to have a lot of work to clear the land. It took us 3 months to remove all the debris in the city of Joplin. Then you're going to have to collect and assess the amount of resources you have coming from the governments, coming from donations, coming from insurance claims, all those things, and then probably reaching out to the community for how are we going to rebuild? How do we want to rebuild? This is a blank canvas. Let's do this the right way. And so there's a lot of work that's going to happen. A lot of that will be planning. And then once that plan's created, deploying it very effectively and very fluidly.
The other thing Stephanie brought up that I noticed was how people in the community were holding hands. And we talked about how something like this brings a community together. Did everyone come back to Joplin? Did you lose people, businesses, residents?
Great question. We haven't, well, we're net positive in businesses, and we were net positive 3 years after the tornado. We have Joplin's the regional hub in our community, And in that, people might have moved to neighboring towns, but we like that they're still here. Our census was done in 2010, and then our census was done in 2020, and our population has grown. And to have a tornado and a natural disaster of this size rip a mile, 7 miles long, a mile wide, destroying a third of the town, and then be population positive, feels like a win for us.
So where do you begin for the folks in Mayfield and the other communities watching this? Where do you begin? How much money did it cost? What kind of federal aid did you get? And how long did it really take you to get back?
Now these are loaded questions. I'll try to keep my answers somewhat short. We received $158 million from community development block grants through HUD that we were able to use to rebuild the city. We had insurance carriers paying out insurance claims, so all the private dollars that were spent, millions upon millions there. We had millions of dollars in donations flowing into the city. So the resources were significant, but the work ahead of us was also significant. I kind of spoke to what's the process. It's clear your land. You want to assess your resources, figure out how you want to rebuild. Primarily, best practice is getting community input, getting community buy-in, and then building a plan and then execute that plan diligently. City Joplin staff have already reached out to Mayfield, have already reached out to Dawson Springs to say, what can we do? Learn from our experience, learn from our knowledge. Let's increase your learning curve. How do we pay this forward?
What about a personal note to those who weren't on that call, Mayor? What would you tell the people living in those communities right now about what's ahead for them?
Yeah, well, the one thing I will tell you is that it does get better. There is a silver lining to this storm cloud. You are going to have a canvas that you didn't want to have that is blank. You're going to build back bigger and better and stronger than you ever would have been able to be before. We don't like these storms of life. We don't wish they come our way. But at the end of the day, there is a tangible silver lining, and that the city of Joplin is here where we want to support you. The nation wants to support you. You're pulling on the heartstrings of an entire nation that wants to pitch in, and just know that hopefully that adds a layer of comfort.
Oh, I'm sure
there's joy, and so that's what I would say is the positive thing, or the message I would want to give is that there is a silver lining to the storm cloud, but right now I know it really stinks.
Well, the new Joplin, Missouri looks beautiful. Mayor Ryan Stanley, we appreciate your time and your insight and all of your suggestions and advice and comments for the folks who are hurting this holiday season. We appreciate the time. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks, Joe.
A member of Congress carjacked on the streets of Philadelphia. We're taking a look at rising crime in the city of brotherly love and comments made by the Philadelphia district attorney, who's now apologizing for saying there's no crisis of crime in that city. Back with that after this. Policing in America tonight, a sitting member of Congress carjacked in Philadelphia. Democrat Mary Gay Scanlon held at gunpoint as she walked to her car following a meeting at a city park. Thankfully, she was not physically hurt. State police say they recovered Scanlon's car and took 5 suspects into custody. Representative released a statement saying, in part, fact is, this type of crime can happen anywhere and to anyone, and it happened to me. Sadly, we know that over the course of the last year or two since the onset of the pandemic, we've seen a spike in certain crimes across the country, including gun violence and carjacking. No one should have to experience this kind of lawlessness, and I will continue to push for resources and policies that help reduce violence in our communities. This as the city hit a record 544 homicides with less than 2 weeks to go in the year, causing the city's district attorney to walk back comments claiming there was no crime crisis.
But basically, we don't have a crisis of lawlessness. We don't have a crisis of crime. We don't have a crisis of violence. And that is a category that includes gun violence. My words unintentionally hurt people.
Joining me now, Rosalind Pichardo. She's the founder of Operation Save Our City in Philadelphia. Rosalind, it's great to have you. You've lost loved ones to violent crime. I know you're a community activist now. What's going on in Philly? And I guess the bigger question is why?
I mean, there's so much going on. There's so many homicides. We're at 545 homicides. Not to mention that our current DA will make such a statement to pour salt on the wounds of mothers and fathers who've already lost their loved ones to murder is you can't take those words back, unfortunately. He said what he said, and it's horrible.
So how do you account for what's happening, Rosalind? Why?
I mean, there's so many different variables. You have the pandemic, you have, some DAs like Larry Krasner who continue to let folks off with gun possession for them to come back out on the street 2 days later to commit homicide. Just under his watch, since he's been DA, he's already lost 70 attorneys that were under his watch that left. So that says something about him. And he's not making the city of Philadelphia better. Not for me, who I recently had my son's brother was shot just recently, 2 weeks ago. So there is lawlessness, there is high crime, and he's not doing enough about it.
What are you doing? Tell us some of the things you're doing on the street level to try to address this, Rosalind.
So we've been talking to dealers. We've been talking to folks. So what is it that has you standing out on these corners? What can we do? How can we help? A lot of times people have a rap sheet. So there's plenty of places like this Germantown restaurant who's hiring folks who have a record, just meeting people where they are, but not turning a blind eye and pretending that this problem doesn't exist. Again, during the pandemic, folks were home and there's guns in the house, there's kids in the house. So we've handed out over 3,000 gun locks. We also teach people on how to stop the bleed if someone is shot on the city of Philadelphia.
You were just at an event with former President Clinton. What came out of that? I understand it focused on addiction. Is that what you think? Is that what's driving a lot of this crime in Philly?
It's so many different things. I mean, addiction may be one of them, but however, the crime that we're seeing are people who've been arrested with firearm possessions and have already a rap sheet, and Krasner lets them out, and then they commit horrific crimes like carjackings, shootings, and things of that nature.
Well, you're doing important work in a fantastic city, and we thank you for stopping by to let us know a little bit about what's happening there. We wish you all the best. Thank you for the time.
Thanks for having me.
There's a new top killer for Americans between the ages of 18 and 45. It's not shootings, cancer, obesity, or even COVID. It's fentanyl overdoses. More than 100,000 Americans died from drug overdoses over the past year. That's a record and an increase of nearly 30% over last year. And the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, blaming Mexican cartels after it seized more than 15,000 pounds of fentanyl this year alone and more than 20 million fake pills. Daily Caller journalist and friend of the show, Jorge Ventura, produced a new documentary, Cartelville, USA, highlighting the drug trafficking and human smuggling crisis here in the U.S., orchestrated by the cartels. Here's a clip.
We're 300 miles away from the border, and we have one of the largest illegal drug operations happening in the backyard in the high deserts of Los Angeles.
This looks like a video game. This isn't a video game. This is real. Those are assault weapons.
This is the cartels. We are very, very close to driving down the freeway and seeing bodies hanging from the overpasses. That is what's coming.
Well, it's an eye-opening documentary, and Jorge Ventura joins us right now. Walk us through how this happens, Jorge, what you found in these small communities in California and how it impacts them.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. And what we're seeing right now is that these Mexican cartels are actually more emboldened right now due to the border crisis. So what these cartels are doing is they take advantage of these huge migrant influxes that are crashing our border and overwhelming Border Patrol. When I speak with agents down there in Texas or in Yuma, Arizona, they tell me that when they have to deal with all these migrants coming from all over the world, that it leaves the border more open than it is, and that this fentanyl is coming in at a record number. I mean, Texas state troopers up to this date, I mean, just in this year alone, have already seized over 800 pounds of fentanyl alone, and that's just one small angle of it. We're not even talking about the human trafficking, the labor trafficking, the illegal marijuana operation crisis as well. And fentanyl right now is the leading death for Americans aged between 18 and 45. In the past 12 months, according to the Wall Street Journal, we had over 100,000 deaths connected to fentanyl. So for Americans who think that the border crisis, it only affects those border towns, it's completely not true. It's coming out to American cities and towns all over. And in our documentary, we focus here on the Antelope Valley, which is a town 300 miles away from the border that now has essentially been taken over by these drug cartels.
The other clip says they're way ahead of us, Jorge. Are you worried about how much worse this could get?
Oh, absolutely. When I speak to Border Patrol agents, they've been completely overwhelmed due to the policies from this administration, and they don't see it coming down anytime soon. I mean, November was a 9th consecutive month with over 100,000 apprehensions. And like I said, it's important to remember that, because when the Border Patrol is dealing with all these migrants and apprehending and dealing with these unaccompanied minors, they're not enforcing the border. They're not stopping the drugs that are coming in and making it our way into our towns and American cities. And I would only expect it to get worse as this pandemic continues to fuel. And hopefully we could put a stop to it. But the Border Patrol agents have been completely overwhelmed. When I speak to them, one agent even mentioned to me that he feels like the Border Patrol is no longer enforcing the border, that what they're doing is called border enrollment, and just enrolling migrants and releasing them into the United States. And it seems like the Mexican cartels and human smuggling groups have completely taken advantage of these policies here in the United States.
Well, congratulations on a personal note, because I know you've just gotten some recognition and an award for the documentary. Cartelville USA is what it's called. And also on another note, Jorge, we appreciate all that you've done for our show this year as we continue to cover the situation down at the border. Appreciate the time. Best to you.
Thank you so much.
America has a love affair with gas-guzzling SUVs, so what's going to happen when car makers need to make their fleets more fuel efficient? Will costs go up? Will we stop buying them? The car coach joins us next. The Biden administration tightening fuel emission standards for cars and SUVs. The new standards are equivalent to an average of roughly 55 miles per gallon for all cars and light trucks by 2026. A lot of them, the MSRP miles per gallon, will read 40 mpg, which is a little confusing. Here to talk more about this, the car coach. Good to have you back, Lauren Fix. So America loves SUVs. The whole world does, actually. What, 46% of the global auto market. Is this doable by 2026? And can we still get the SUVs we want?
Well, as of today, it's 38 miles to the gallon for the EPA rating, and there's only one car company that's making that standard, and that's Honda. So if you think about what are they doing, well, they don't offer a lot of big trucks. They offer a lot of fuel-efficient vehicles, and other car manufacturers have to produce electric vehicles in order to make that 40 miles to the gallon. However, in 2027, that's when it's going to jump up for the average fuel economy to be 50 miles to the gallon and much stricter regulations. That's when car companies are going to really have to reduce less gas propulsion vehicles. The problem comes down to is that some vehicles are exempt. Now, this may change, but as of today, if a vehicle weighs over 10,000 pounds, like a large 3-row SUV, a pickup truck, something along those lines, they're not part of that corporate average fuel economy, and so therefore they are exempt because they're considered light duty trucks.
I know you're not a big fan, but are Americans coming around on electric cars? The last time we talked anyway, you weren't.
Well, I've driven everything from a Lucid, Rivian, Hummer, and they're fun to drive, but they still don't have the range or the charging time. And so right now, that's the problem with a lot of people. You've got a 2% take rate, and we will hopefully get up to 8% with all plugins, including a combination mixture of gas and plug-in. So I don't think we're there yet. The prices are high. The insurance is higher. You're looking at a Tesla alone. It's twice as expensive to insure.
Right.
So people start looking at their total costs. I can't afford this.
Right.
So, and cars are going to get more expensive.
All right, Lauren Fix, the car coach, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching On Balance with Leland Vittert next. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.